This little PC packs an unbelievably powerful punch, and that for a very low price. This is the GMKtec Nuckbox K6. So when I ordered this mini PC, right, I knew I was ordering a mini PC, but I had no idea it would be this small. So just to give you guys an idea of how small it is, it's literally, I measured it by the way, it's literally 2 inches tall and 5 inches long. All right, it literally fits in my hand. So in terms of the build itself, it is a plastic build as opposed to a metal build, which does raise logical concern for heat dissipation. But in my 3 weeks of owning this device and using it with various different kinds of loads, for example, video editing, video rendering, playing AAA titles and all different types of games, I've noticed very little overheating. In fact, it's actually handled all of those tasks amazingly well. And I think that has a lot to do with the vents around the device that allow for proper airflow, as well as the dual fan setup on the inside. Speaking of inside, before we do get to the specs, let's quickly cover the ports on the outside. So on the front side of the K6, we have 2 USB 3.2 ports, a USB Type-C or 4.0 port, a 3.5mm headphone jack, the power button right next to it, and what I thought was a microphone, but apparently it's not. At least on the actual K6 page, it doesn't mention anything about there being a mic on this device. So I don't know exactly what that is. If you know what it is, let me know in the comments down below. But let's move on to the backside of the K6. On the backside, we have a DC in port for the power supply. We have 2 RJ45 ports for Ethernet, a display port, the HDMI 2.0 port, and a USB 2.0 port, as well as the final USB 3.2 port. Now in terms of airflow, there is no lack of vents. We have a vent on the right side of the K6, we have another one on the left side of the K6, and if you remember, 3 smaller ones on the back side of the K6, followed by lastly, the bigger vent on the bottom of the K6, allowing for clean airflow throughout the entire unit. Alright, so let's get to the specs. The K6 has an AMD Ryzen 7 7840HS CPU, which is an 8-core 16-thread CPU that has a base clock of 3.8 GHz and can go up to 5.1 GHz. And it's accompanied by the AMD Radeon 780M iGPU, which is a 12-core GPU that's clocked at 2700 MHz. And I have to say that iGPU is nothing to sleep on. And you'll see what I mean by that when we get to the game performance section of this video. So the specific model of the K6 that I got has 32 GB of RAM, which is DDR5 dual channel clocked at 5600 MHz. And you can expand that to 64 GB, which would be 2 sticks of 32 gigs. So there are 2 expandable components in this mini PC. The first one was the RAM, the second one is the M.2 NVMe SSD, of which you can only have 2. So no matter which version of the K6 you get, whether it's the 2TB version or the 1TB version or less, you're always going to get one M.2 NVMe SSD built into the system, leaving one open slot for you to put your own SSD, with a max capacity of 4TB, which would be about 2 sticks of 2TB each. Also, for those that would like to know, just before we move on to the game performance section, it does come with Windows 11 Pro built in, and it does support 4K 60 with HDMI 2.0 and up to 8K 60 with the Type-C or 4.0 port. Also, not that you really need to know this because you can't really change much of anything in the mini PC, but it is AM5. It is an AM5 build. Again, not that you really needed to know that because you can't really expand much of anything in this mini PC aside from the RAM and the mini PC. So I mean, if you're planning on expanding the RAM, I guess you do need to know that look for DDR5 SODIMM RAM and not DDR4 because AM5 does not support DDR4. Alright, so now we're finally at the most anticipated part of this video, I'm sure, which is game performance. This is the part where I stop talking and you get to watch raw gameplay from the mini PC itself. So before I show you guys the gameplay, I just want to clarify that the gameplay you're about to see was not recorded directly from the mini PC. I hooked up my mini PC to a capture card, which was then hooked up to my laptop, and I recorded it that way so that you guys could see the raw performance of the mini PC. So any lag that I saw is the lag that you're going to see as well. And it also makes sure that there's no extra stress put on the CPU, and this makes sure that the performance that you see is the raw performance of the CPU only putting its resources towards the game and not towards any other recording software as well. Alright, I'm gonna leave you guys with the gameplay and I'll see you guys on the stream performance side of this video.
Waiting for primitives.
Alright, welcome to the other side. You guys saw the gameplay and I'm sure you're just as impressed as I was. But as I said before I showed you the gameplay you saw was recorded using a capture card, meaning no extra stress was put on the CPU. But this is the stream performance section, meaning that we're going to be doing the opposite of that. So I streamed 3 different games onto YouTube using OBS Studio directly from the mini PC. No capture card, no nothing. So the 3 games that I streamed were Terraria, Grapples Galore, and CS2. CS2 obviously being the most demanding game out of all of them. So long story short, the streams were completely flawless.
This is really good.
No frames were dropped in any game, not even in CS2 at all, and mind you, this was all on high setting. I'll leave the links to all the streams in the description below just so that you guys can check it out for yourselves and not just have to trust my word for it. And finally, should you get this PC? Or in other words, do I recommend this PC? 100%. If you want a fairly affordable PC that packs a punch, this is it. This is really honestly it. If you want to perhaps start your content creation journey, or maybe you just want to play some games, whatever it may be that you want to do, this can handle it. So do I recommend it? Yes, 100%. In fact, I'll leave a link in the description below just so that you guys can go ahead and check it out. Alright, so that's it for this video. If you guys found it informative and if you liked the video, go ahead and leave a like and subscribe to join the community. And I look forward to seeing you guys in the next video. Peace.